Alright, we're about to do some front brakes on a 2007 Jeep Wrangler. If you watched the previous video, I did the shifter cable for the automatic transmission gear shifter and the transfer case gear shifter. So he thought he had a wheel bearing problem. He asked me to look at it because he's trying to sell it. I went and drove it, or first I inspected it on the rack up in the air with the suspension suspended, and didn't feel any play, anything weird, didn't hear anything spinning the tire, free spinning it in the air. So I went and drove it, and didn't hear anything, but felt some vibrations upon braking, especially at 50-55 miles an hour, indicating, and it was shaking the steering wheel. If you get light braking and your steering wheel shakes when you hit the brake pedal, it's the front rotors are warped. So the discs in the front and the brake grab, the brake pads grab, if they get a high spot or get warped, it'll shake your steering wheel when you apply the brakes lightly. So I looked at the brakes, they're getting kind of low. They're not extremely low, but the rotors are warped, and it's got a lip on the rotor, so it probably can't be machined down. He's looking to sell it. We need to move fast, get this thing done, so we're just going to put a set of rotors on it, a set of front pads. I like to run ceramic pads, so we got a set of ceramic pads. We're going to get the front wheels off of it after we jack it up on the lift and replace these front pads and rotors. All right. Okay, let's hope and pray that we're in focus. I can't ever tell this damn camera. The viewfinder is too small when I get 5 feet away from it for me to tell if it's in focus or not. All I can do is hope and pray. I've got to come up with a better solution for filming these videos because, man, they're just out of focus all the time. Alright, I'm going to get this thing jacked up in the front and we're going to get the wheels off. And we're going to try to have a good time while I'm doing a brake job. Yeah. Wheel off. Let's see if we can't get in here a little tighter. Okay. Alright, on to collapsing the piston and the caliper. So the way I like to do it, especially if I have plenty of room, sometimes the screwdriver is too big, you got to move the caliper out and then just by turning the wheel. I just like to get in behind the front pad if I can, pad the rotor, try not to ever pry on the piston of the caliper because it will break very easily. But if you get in between the pad and the caliper, You can just slowly push it this way, pull it towards you, and it will push the piston in. This works well on most vehicles. I have a special press for pressing pistons back in on some screw in on rear calipers, like disc rear brakes with the parking brake set up. You can do that. So your rotor's loose inside the pads now. I get in between the pad and the rotor, not in between the piston. You don't want to push on the piston itself. On the surface of the pad, try to collapse that piston the rest of the way into the caliper there. It's a quick and easy way to do it. Okay. Break our bolts loose on our caliper. Do all this and not get in the way of the camera so you guys can see what's going on here. Hopefully this thing's in focus. Hopefully there's enough lighting. Alright. So I just flip it over here onto the lower control arm. So it's got a fair amount of material on the pads, but the rotors are hammered, warped, and take this caliper bracket off so we can slide the rotor off, okay? I have to get a socket big enough for that. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we've got 21 millimeter. I got it on my impact. I'm going to pop these bolts loose. Be careful up here on this one. You don't want to tear up your ABS wheel speed sensor. Take your bracket off, and you slide your rotor off. If you were doing a wheel bearing, you would take this nut off, these 3 bolts off, there's a triangle here, 1, 2, 3 on the side, and this would slide out. Sometimes not so nicely, but it'll be alright. Excuse me, you have to bear with me. I've had a head and chest cold this week, and I'm just getting over it. And you might hear me sniffling and coughing, clearing my throat, but we'll get through it. Alright. Okay. Got the rotors. They always come in a bag, well not always, a lot of times they'll come in a bag. Sometimes we'll have shipping oil, packing oil on them so they don't rust. And I'll take a can of brake clean and just put that oil off the surface. You don't want that to contaminate the brake pad surface. The first couple times you hit the brakes. That's it. And you can slide the rotor on. Alright. Just kind of want to make sure we got the same style rotor here. Height's the same, both holes are the same. That's good. Slide the rotor on. Slide our bracket back in place. You can re-grease these pins. These slides just pop out. These are very loose still. They feel like they're not dried up feeling. If they're stiff, slow, take these boots off, pull them out, clean them up, put some silicone or anti-seize or whatever brake product you want to use to lube those slides up. It's what the caliper slides back and forth on as the pads are being pinched on, and these pieces will get replaced. They come with new hardware in the brake kit, brake pad kit. Started by hand. You want to start them by hand. You don't want to start them with an impact gun. Strip the holes off. You got them good and started. Got a few threads. Feels good. Go ahead. Just kind of ease it in. Then I can give it a good pop. Like that. Now we'll grab the hardware, pop these off. So metal pieces just pop off as the pads sit on. They are sharp, so sometimes cut your fingers, so be careful. They went flying everywhere, but that's alright. Using a full ceramic pad. I like ceramics because they don't make as much noise, they don't dust as bad. Seems like the hotter you get them, the better they stop, which is great. We've got pads, we've got hardware. Excuse me. Alright, so we've got the brake pad hardware. I don't really think this camera's focusing today. Oh, maybe. Alright, we've got these hardware pieces. Just got to get the right ones. They're kind of directional, so if you don't know how to do it, you need to do it one at a time. Alright, got our new hardware in place. You can tell which pad, if this is focused, probably not. Alright, you can tell which pad, one of them's going to have your squealer on it, your indicator. You can tell this one, you should probably look, if you're not real familiar with doing this before you take them out, but this is where the piston was riding on the caliper, so we're going to find the pad that matches that, right? Well, the squealer's on the wrong side of these, but it shouldn't matter. Alright. Just drop the pad in your hardware brackets. Slide it in there. You can use Some brake lubricant there. Some vehicles benefit from that, some do not. Sometimes it just attracts a lot of dirt. It causes a squeal. Sometimes it only lasts until you wash the vehicle once and it just washes it all out. So it should be good. A lot of times dry is fine. Alright, so we got our brackets in place. We've checked our pins, they slide nice. Pads are back in place with our new hardware tabs. Rotors cleaned off. We can put the caliper back on now. The piston is already collapsed in. I showed you how to do that before we took it off. Now we can put the bolts back in. Put them back in the slides. Cinch down, and then just want to make sure they're good and tight. You don't want to break them off though. You'll be in trouble if you break them off when you're replacing the pin. Alright, that's it. One side's done. All you got to do is wash, rinse, repeat on the other side, and you've got a brake job done. Pop the wheel back on this side. I'm going to do the other side. This wall's tight on the other side, so I'm not going to film that. It's too hard to get camera angles over there on the wall side. So eventually that wall will be gone, and we'll have the ability to film on both sides easier. So anyway, we're going to get this thing finished up for the customer. I'll go back and go for a test drive and he can pick it up. He's got somebody wanting to look at it today. Be a good Jeep for somebody. It's in pretty good shape for 200,000 miles. Alrighty. If you found this helpful, please give me a like, comment below. Need me for anything, reach out. Grab me in the comments. I can get back to you if necessary. Alright, appreciate it. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Have a good day.